Hi guys, we are continuing with topic 5, lesson 4. We will be discussing the formal and informal sector. I would like you to think of formal wear, that's normally a suit and a tie. So the formal sector is basically office related, registered, always in a suit and tie. Then the informal sector, think of your casual wear. Very laid back, not registered, doesn't have an office, so it's basically somebody selling fruit on the street. Now, organizations in South Africa are classified based on their business and economic activities as part of the formal sector or the informal sector. Now, the informal sector in South Africa is gradually being recognized by manufacturers, wholesalers, and retailers as an important link in the delivery channel of production. Okay, for this table, if it is not clear enough for you, please check on page 69. Okay, I will first do the formal sector, then move on to the informal sector of each part. We are going to look at the description of businesses in this sector. Okay, formal sector description comprises of large, legally registered businesses. So it is registered with tax, it is registered as a business, whether it is a small, medium, or corporate business, or a partnership, etc. It falls within the mainstream of the economy, therefore it contributes to the economy, complies with all required regulations and laws applicable to them, which means employees are registered for UIF, etc. Now, if we look at the description of the informal sector, activities by people unable to find jobs, known as the survivalist sector, which means if a person could not find a job, they start selling handmade things they make at home or fruits and vegetables, etc. They fall outside the mainstream economy, so they are also referred to as the second or marginalized economy. Now, marginalized means to exclude people. People are self-employed. It is labor-intensive with adapted technology, which means there's not a lot of technology that is being used in the informal sector. If it is technology, it's not as advanced as it would be in the formal sector. Now let's have a look at the characteristics of the formal sector. They contribute towards the GDP of the country because they are legally registered. So obviously they bring money into our economy. It is made up of highly skilled, semi-skilled, and unskilled labor. It is not easy to enter the sector as businesses have to be legally registered. Okay, remember there's a lot of requirements when registering a business, so it can become a bit complicated. Resources are acquired through proper plans and policies budgeted for and deployed. Small, medium, and large size operations, so it can be a big project such as building a road or building an office building, etc. Could be capital, technological, and labor intensive depending on the type of industry. So again, it depends on what type of business is being done. They comply with the relevant laws such as labor law and Occupational and Health Act, which means that they need to be registered with the Labor Department, need to be registered for the Occupational Health and Safety Act. So if somebody gets injured, that the company can actually help that person. Employees are protected in many ways, such as the unemployment fund, disability funds, injury on duty, etc. Okay, so basically in the formal sector, they do not only look after the employer, they also look after the employee. Now, if we have a look at the informal sector, the characteristics contribute little towards the GDP and fall outside the mainstream economic activities. Okay, again, the money that is made in the informal sector goes directly to the owner of the business, so there isn't money going into our economy. It is made up of large numbers of poor people within the rural and urban areas. It is easy to enter the sector. Again, you can literally start trading anytime, anywhere. Rely on indigenous resources. In the case of making products, Examples can be the barks of trees, leather from cattle, or wild plants. It is mostly small-scale operations. It is labor-intensive with adapted technology again. So if it's a guy selling handmade art, labor-intensive, he or she needs to make the products him or herself. Unregulated in a legal and social environment. Okay, in other words, it's not unlawful to do it, but it is unregulated. Employees are not protected and can be exploited. So in the informal sector, if there are employees, then they can be exploited, meaning if they should be paid 20 rand an hour, they can only be paid 5 rand an hour, and nobody can do anything about it because the business is not registered. Okay, now we look at the economic activities in the formal sector. About 8.1 million South Africans work in the formal sector. Employment in the mining sector and quarrying, employment in service industries such as financial services, real estate, insurance, and consultancy, employment in retail industries such as wholesale and retail businesses. Now we have a look at the economic activities in the informal sector. An estimated of 1.74 million people are employed in the informal sector. So again, it is still a lot. It still brings in an income. Involved in small-scale agriculture. So if it's the lady selling fruits and vegetables, it is most likely done at her own house, so own small-scale, own yard, etc. Provides services such as taxis, tailors, gardening, and washing cars. Produce products such as leather bags, beads, or wood and other crafts. Now we look at the advantages and disadvantages for businesses in the formal sector. Employees enjoy protection provided by labor laws. Employees have a steady income, which means they know exactly what to expect from their salary each month. During economic downswings, thousands of jobs are lost. Think of now with COVID-19, a lot of economic activities had to be downscaled. So most likely a lot of people will lose their jobs because companies can no longer afford them. If we look at the informal sector, the advantages and disadvantages, no protection is rendered to employees as health and safety rules are not applied. Income is inconsistent. One month the business can make 5,000 rand, the next month they can only make 200 rand, so there is no done deal of exactly what to expect. The socio-economic impact of unemployment is cushioned. Entrepreneurs are their own boss. Could be absorbed by the formal sector, meaning the formal sector can get them if the owner of the business decides to register the business, and they could be appointed as subcontractors, meaning the formal sector can make use of the informal sector and pay them a fee for that. Okay, please do activity 4 on page 70 for me. Please remember, stay updated with your notes. You have your own education in your hands now, and I trust and believe that you will do the right thing.